My beloved child, pause everything and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. This is not a coincidence, not a random moment, and not just another voice passing through your day. This is a direct summons. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of your life and declares, I order you to open this now. These words are not spoken lightly. Heaven has been watching you, waiting for this exact second when your heart would be ready to receive what has been withheld for far too long. You were drawn here because God Himself is calling your name. Not tomorrow, not later, now. And the urgency you feel in your chest is not anxiety, it is recognition. Something deep within you knows this message is real. You may have ignored signs before. You may have silenced gentle nudges, brushed off whispers, or delayed obedience. But hear this clearly. This moment is different. If you turn away again, the noise you rely on for comfort will fade, and the silence that follows will not be emptiness. It will be consequence. Hear me gently but firmly. Heaven does not go silent out of anger. Heaven goes silent when it has already spoken enough. Archangel Michael is not here to frighten you. He is here to awaken you. You have been standing at a spiritual door, unsure whether to knock or walk away. Today, that door is opening on its own, and what stands behind it will change how you see your life, your home, and your future. There is something about the place you are living in right now that carries unfinished business. You have felt it in moments of restlessness, in nights where sleep escapes you for no clear reason, in sudden thoughts that tell you, there is more, but I don't know what. This is not imagination. This is discernment activating. God is addressing the foundation of your life, not just the surface. And Archangel Michael has been assigned to guard this transition because what is coming requires protection, courage, and truth. Do not rush past this. The reason this message sounds commanding is because delay has already cost you time. You are not late in life, but you have been early in responsibility. You carried burdens that were never meant to be yours. You protected others while neglecting your own calling. Heaven saw it all. And now, the command is clear because the season of preparation is ending. You might be wondering why the warning feels so strong. Why the phrase, if you ignore this, echoes in your mind. It is because God respects free will so deeply that He will not force alignment. But He will announce it. He will mark the moment. And once marked, the responsibility shifts to you. Silence does not mean abandonment. It means the instruction has already been given. Archangel Michael is stepping forward because a battle you could not see has been unfolding around your decisions. Every time you doubted yourself, something tried to claim that doubt. Every time you chose fear over obedience, something fed on the delay. But today, authority enters the scene. The same authority that protects destinies, that guards gates, that separates truth from deception. That authority is now speaking over you. This message is not for everyone. Many will hear words, but only a few will feel the weight of them. If your spirit feels exposed, seen, or suddenly alert, that is confirmation. God is not calling you out to shame you. He is calling you forward to position you. There is an assignment attached to your obedience, and it begins with awareness. Let me speak this plainly. You are not just living in a house. You are standing in a spiritual environment that responds to your alignment. When you are disconnected, things feel heavy. When you resist change, peace feels distant. But when you listen, even slightly, order begins to return. This is why Archangel Michael speaks now. Order must be restored before expansion can happen. You have asked God questions in silence. You have wondered if He still answers you the way He once did. This message is the answer, not because God stopped speaking, but because the frequency changed. You are being invited to rise, to tune your heart again, to respond before stillness replaces instruction. Do not panic. Do not overthink. Just stay present. The fact that you are still listening means heaven has not gone quiet yet. The door is open. The command has been given. And in the next unfolding moments, what is hidden will begin to surface, gently but unmistakably. Receive this with humility and courage. This is only the beginning, and what comes next will make sense of everything that has felt confusing until now. Chosen one, let your heart settle for a moment, because what unfolds now is deeper than emotion. It is instruction. The reason this message feels heavy is because it carries responsibility. Archangel Michael does not repeat himself, and heaven does not echo commands without purpose. What you heard earlier was not the end. It was the opening. Now comes the understanding of why God is calling so firmly, and why ignoring this moment would shift more than you realize. There is a pattern God had been watching in your life. Every time clarity approached, distraction followed. Every time you were close to alignment, something pulled your attention away. This was not random. It was strategic resistance. Not against your comfort, but against your calling. Archangel Michael is revealing this now so you stop blaming yourself for delays that were engineered to exhaust you. You were never weak. You were targeted because of what rests on your obedience. Hear this carefully. God is not asking you to become someone new. He is asking you to return to who you were before fear taught you to shrink, before disappointment taught you to stay quiet, before survival mode became your personality. The command to open this now is not about information. It is about access. Access to clarity, to peace, to divine order that has been knocking while you were busy holding everything together alone. You have been trying to interpret signs, but heaven is done with hints. That is why the tone has shifted from gentle nudges to clear instruction. Silence only comes after clarity has been rejected enough times. That is why this moment matters. God is speaking plainly because the next season requires decisiveness, not hesitation. There is also something else you need to know. When heaven goes silent, it is not because God leaves, but because protection steps back. Guidance quiets. Confusion grows louder. And many people mistake that silence for peace, when in reality it is distance. Archangel Michael is intervening now so you do not confuse comfort with alignment. Temporary calm is not the same as divine covering. Your life is at a junction. One path continues familiarity, same cycles, same struggles, same unanswered questions. The other path requires courage, but it brings order, direction, and restoration. God will not drag you onto that path. He will call you to it. And that call is happening right now. If you feel resistance rising inside you, do not shut down. Resistance often surfaces when truth gets close. Breathe through it. Stay present. This is where many people turn away, not because they don't believe, but because believing requires change. And change feels risky when you have already survived so much. This message is reaching you because your spirit can handle responsibility. You were never meant to live on spiritual leftovers, waiting for signs while ignoring instruction. Heaven is repositioning you from observer to participant, from waiting to responding, from hoping to lying. And listen closely. This is important. You are not alone in this moment. Others are being awakened too, and when you acknowledge this message, you strengthen not just yourself, but the collective movement of obedience God is forming. That is why sharing this matters. When you engage, when you comment, When you make your presence known, you are not just interacting with a video, you are declaring agreement. You are telling heaven, I heard you. If this message is stirring something in you, let it be seen. Press like as a sign of alignment. Share this with someone who has been feeling spiritually disconnected but doesn't know why. Comment something simple that reflects your readiness, because words spoken carry weight in the spiritual realm. And if this space continues to feed your spirit, stay connected. Subscribe. Become part of this growing community, because what is unfolding here is not random content. It is ongoing instruction. Hold on, because what comes next will explain why certain relationships, environments, and habits have been feeling increasingly uncomfortable. The discomfort is not rejection. It is redirection. And the clarity that follows may surprise you in the most unexpected way. Stay with this. You will want to hear what is revealed next. Beloved soul, now the veil begins to lift, because heaven never calls without revealing what has been hidden. What you are sensing lately is not confusion. It is exposure. God is not tearing your life apart. He is uncovering what has been quietly shaping it from beneath the surface. Archangel Michael stands as a witness in this moment, because truth requires protection when it comes forward. And what is being revealed now explains why certain things have felt unstable, uncomfortable, or suddenly urgent. There has been a quiet imbalance around you. Not obvious enough to alarm you, but strong enough to drain you over time. You adapted to it. You normalized it. You told yourself this was just how life feels. But heaven saw that what you called normal was slowly limiting you. God is not angry about this. He is precise. He is correcting what you learned to tolerate because it no longer fits where He is taking you. This is why the call felt commanding. Exposure requires authority. When something has been hidden too long, gentle whispers are no longer enough. Archangel Michael does not expose to shame. He exposes to protect. What is coming into the light now is not meant to destroy you, but to free you from patterns that were never meant to last this long. You may notice memories surfacing, old conversations replaying, situations from the past suddenly making sense. This is not your mind wandering. It is alignment happening in reverse. God is reconnecting dots so you can finally understand why certain doors closed, why some people disappeared, and why certain prayers felt unanswered. They were not ignored. They were delayed until truth could safely come forward. Pay attention to what no longer feels peaceful. Peace is heaven's confirmation. When peace leaves, it is not punishment. It is information. Something in your environment, your thinking, or your agreements no longer aligns with who you are becoming. And God loves you too much to let you stay comfortable in a place that limits your growth. Archangel Michael is present because exposure can feel like conflict inside. One part of you wants familiarity. Another part of you wants freedom. But tension is not weakness, it is transition. And transitions require guardianship, because doubt often tries to masquerade as logic during these moments. Let me say this clearly. What is being revealed now has been affecting your energy more than you realized. It has influenced your decisions, your confidence, and your sense of direction. But the moment you see it clearly, its power diminishes. Light weakens what secrecy strengthens. That is why God waited until now, because now you are strong enough to see without collapsing. Do not rush to fix everything. Awareness comes before action. Heaven reveals in layers so you are not overwhelmed. Your only responsibility right now is honesty, with yourself and with God. Stop pretending you are fine where you are not. Stop minimizing what your spirit has been warning you about. Truth does not ask for perfection. It asks for agreement. As this unfolds, you may feel a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief because things finally make sense. Sadness because you realize how long you carried what was not yours. Both emotions are valid. God is not asking you to judge the past. He is asking you to release it. This is also the moment where alignment becomes visible. When you respond to truth, heaven responds with clarity. When you accept exposure, protection increases. Archangel Michael does not step back when things get real. He steps closer. And that is happening now. If this message is resonating deeply, receive this as confirmation that you are not behind. You are right on time. The exposure you feared is actually the doorway you prayed for. Type "I receive the truth" in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 444 has just been released over those who respond in alignment. And now, hear this carefully. What you are receiving here is not just for you. This message is part of a greater river God is releasing to reach souls who are still confused, still disconnected, still waiting for clarity. When you choose to support this mission, you are not funding content, you are fueling obedience. I hear the Lord saying, those who sow into this work are lighting lamps in dark places. This is holy ground. This is seed meeting assignment. If your spirit feels stirred, act now. Release your support through super thanks, through membership, or through PayPal. The link is waiting in the description. Do not delay obedience when heaven has opened a window. I speak blessing over every giver, that what you release will return as clarity, protection, and divine order. Step forward now. So while the door is open, faithful one, what you are entering now is the moment after exposure, the space where understanding begins to settle into your bones. This is where many people grow tired, because revelation demands response. But you are still here, still listening, and that alone tells heaven something powerful about you. Archangel Michael remains near, not to command this time, but to steady you as the weight of truth reshapes how you see yourself and your path. After truth comes choice. Not a rushed decision, not an emotional reaction, but a quiet, firm turning of the heart. God is watching how you respond now, not with fear, but with expectation. He knows you have seen what needed to be seen. Now He is asking you to trust what you cannot yet fully understand. This is the stage where faith becomes practical, where belief steps out of theory and into daily alignment. You may notice that your tolerance is changing. Things you once excused now irritate your spirit. Conversations that once felt normal now feel draining. This is not arrogance, and it is not judgment. It is refinement. When God begins to prepare you for a higher level of clarity, He reduces your appetite for what once sustained you. Not because it was evil, but because it was temporary. Archangel Michael is guarding this transition because confusion loves transitional spaces. Old habits will try to convince you that nothing has really changed. Old voices may whisper that you are overthinking. But pay attention to the peace underneath your discomfort. Discomfort shouts, but peace hums quietly. That hum is heaven's confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. This is also where patience is tested. You may want immediate results, quick resolution, or visible proof that obedience is worth it. But God often works in unseen layers first. Roots grow before branches show. Structure forms before beauty appears. What is happening now is internal alignment, and it matters more than outward speed. You are learning to listen differently. Not just for answers, but for timing. Not just for direction, but for confirmation. This is maturity. This is discernment developing. And it is why heaven trusts you with deeper insight now. Many people want revelation, but few are willing to sit with it long enough to be transformed by it. There may be moments where you feel alone in this process, not abandoned, just misunderstood. That is normal. Alignment often creates temporary distance from those who are not walking the same direction. This does not mean you must cut people off harshly. It simply means you must stop shrinking to maintain comfort. You are allowed to grow without explaining every step. Archangel Michael's presence here is a reminder that you are protected even when the path feels uncertain. Protection does not always look like ease. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like doors closing that you wanted to stay open. But every restriction now is guiding you towards something more stable, more aligned, more lasting. Let your prayers change in this season. Instead of asking God to fix everything, ask Him to order everything. Order brings peace. Order brings clarity. Order brings rest. Chaos is loud, but order is powerful. And power does not need to announce itself. Notice how your thoughts are shifting. You are questioning less out of fear and more out of wisdom. You are reflecting instead of reacting. This is growth you cannot fake. Heaven recognizes it immediately. And with recognition comes responsibility, not pressure, but stewardship. You are being trusted with more because you have been faithful with less. Do not rush ahead of grace. Timing matters. Obedience without patience becomes force. Patience without obedience becomes delay. You are learning to walk in both. That balance is rare, and it is valuable. This is why Archangel Michael remains close, not to push you forward, but to keep you steady. As you move through this phase, release the need to be understood by everyone. Heaven understands. That is enough. What is meant to follow you will follow. What is meant to fall away will do so naturally. You do not need to manage outcomes. You need to manage alignment. Stay open. Stay honest. Stay grounded. What is forming now will soon become visible, and when it does, you will realize this quiet season was not empty at all. It was full of preparation, protection, and purpose unfolding exactly as it should. Steady heart, what unfolds now is the testing of resolve, the quiet proving ground where intention becomes commitment. After awareness and adjustment comes endurance. This is where many assume nothing is happening because the noise has faded. But in the spirit, this is where foundations are reinforced. Archangel Michael remains present, not visibly but firmly, ensuring that what is being built within you is not rushed, fragile, or dependent on emotion. This phase may feel slower than you expected. You responded. You aligned. You released what needed to go. And now, instead of immediate breakthrough, there is stillness. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Stillness is where strength consolidates. It is where faith matures beyond excitement and becomes reliability. Heaven trusts those who can remain faithful without constant reassurance. You are learning how to stand without leaning on urgency. Before, pressure drove your decisions. And now, peace guides them. That shift alone is evidence of growth. The world moves quickly, but God moves precisely. And precision often feels slow to those accustomed to chaos. You are being retrained to value depth over speed. In this season, subtle temptations may arise. Not obvious ones, but invitations to compromise clarity for comfort. Old patterns may try to reintroduce themselves in softer forms. Familiar distractions may appear harmless now. This is where discernment becomes critical. Not everything that feels easy is aligned. Not everything that looks good is good for you. Archangel Michael guards you here because discernment sharpens under pressure. You are being taught to listen beneath the surface, to sense what is behind words, behind offers, behind sudden opportunities. This is not suspicion, it is wisdom. And wisdom keeps you from building on unstable ground. Your emotions may fluctuate. Some days you feel confident and grounded. Other days uncertainty creeps in quietly. This does not mean you are regressing. It means your inner world is adjusting to a new standard. When growth occurs, the nervous system resists before it adapts. Be patient with yourself. God is. There is also a refinement of identity happening now. You are no longer defined by what you survive. You are being defined by what you steward. That shift requires letting go of old narratives about yourself. You are not always the one who struggles. You are not always the one who holds everything together. Those roles were temporary. They serve a purpose, but they are not permanent titles. Heaven is teaching you to rest without guilt, to pause without fear, to say no without over-explaining. These are not small lessons. They are signs of authority forming within you. Authority does not need to announce itself loudly. It operates quietly and effectively. You may also notice that your prayers are becoming simpler, less frantic, more focused. This is alignment. When you know who you are speaking to, you do not need to convince him. You trust him, and trust changes the tone of everything. Do not measure this season by external results. Measure it by internal stability. Are you less reactive? Are you more aware of your limits? Are you choosing peace more often than before? These are the metrics heaven uses, and by those standards, you are progressing well. Archangel Michael's presence here is subtle but strategic. He is not fighting battles right now. He is preventing unnecessary ones. By sharpening your discernment, he is reducing future conflict. By strengthening your boundaries, he is preserving your energy. Protection often looks like wisdom before it looks like rescue. You are also being prepared for responsibility. Not burden, but influence. Influence requires restraint. It requires knowing when not to speak, when not to act, when not to intervene. You are learning that not every situation requires your involvement. This is maturity. Let go of the need to feel significant through constant activity. Significance comes from alignment, not exhaustion. When you move in step with God, even small actions carry weight. Even silence carries authority. This phase will not last forever. It is a passage, not a destination. But it is necessary. What comes next will require the stability you are developing now. Without it, momentum would become pressure. With it, momentum becomes purpose. Remain faithful in the quiet. Remain honest in reflection. Remain open without becoming porous. You are being shaped with intention. And when the next door opens, you will walk through it not rushing, not doubting, but grounded, ready for what you asked for, and strong enough to sustain it. Beloved one, this is the phase where movement begins again, not loud or rushed, but deliberate and ordered. What with quiet is now activating. What was internal is preparing to become visible. Archangel Michael remains attentive, because when motion resumes after refinement, direction matters more than speed. You are not being released into chaos. You are being guided into alignment with intention. You may start noticing subtle opportunities appearing. Not dramatic breakthroughs, but small openings that feel right. Conversations that flow naturally. Ideas that return with clarity instead of confusion. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. God often tests readiness through subtlety before releasing magnitude. How you handle the small reveals how you will steward the large. there is a shift happening in how you respond to pressure. Before, pressure triggered urgency. Now, it triggers discernment. You pause. You listen. You wait for peace before acting. This is evidence that authority is taking root. Authority is calm. Authority does not rush to prove itself. It moves when the signal is clear. Archangel Michael's role here is strategic. He is helping you distinguish between momentum and impulse. Momentum builds over time and carries peace with it. Impulse demands immediate action and leaves anxiety in its wake. You are learning to tell the difference, and that skill alone will protect you from many unnecessary battles. You might feel a renewed desire to engage with others, but differently than before. You are no longer seeking validation. You are seeking alignment. You notice when conversations nourish you and when they drain you. You are more willing to step back without guilt. This is not isolation. This is stewardship of energy. As you move forward, remember that obedience does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like consistency, showing up when it would be easier to retreat, speaking truth gently instead of staying silent, choosing rest when overworking feels more familiar. These choices may seem small, but heaven measures faithfulness in these moments. This is also a time to acknowledge what you have already overcome. Reflection is not regression. It is recognition. You survived seasons that could have hardened you, yet you remained open. You endured confusion without abandoning faith. That resilience did not go unnoticed. Heaven records perseverance. Now, as engagement increases, your voice matters. Your presence matters. When you acknowledge what God is doing here, you amplify it. When you interact, you are not just responding to a message, you are reinforcing a frequency. If this space has been speaking to your spirit, let that be known. Press like as a sign of agreement. Share this with someone who needs grounding and clarity right now. Comment what resonated, because articulation strengthens understanding. And if this journey hath been helping you stay aligned, stay connected. Subscribe so you remain anchored in this flow of guidance. This is not about numbers. It is about continuity. Growth happens best in consistent environments. You belong where your spirit is fed. As movement continues, you may feel moments of doubt resurface. That does not negate progress. Doubt often visits right before expansion. It asks, "Are you sure?" Not to stop you, but to test your confidence. Let peace answer that question for you. Peace is the confirmation doubt cannot argue with. Archangel Michael remains close because new territory always requires vigilance. Not fear-based vigilance, but awareness. You are not walking blindly. You are walking attentively. That awareness will keep you from missteps and help you recognize doors that are not meant for you, no matter how attractive they appear. This season also invites responsibility in how you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue must align with your growth. No more rehearsing old failures. No more defining yourself by past confusion. Speak as someone who is becoming, not someone who is stuck. Let patience remain your companion. Do not compare your pace to others. Their path is not your assignment. God measures progress by obedience, not by visibility. You are exactly where you need to be for what is forming next. Hold on, because what unfolds from here will connect everything you have sensed but could not yet explain. Stay attentive. This next unfolding will bring clarity that makes the waiting worthwhile. Chosen vessel, what you are stepping into now is the season of alignment becoming visible. Until now, much of the work has been hidden, internal, quiet. But heaven does not prepare in secret without intention to reveal in due time. This is the stage where inner order begins to affect outer reality. Archangel Michael remains attentive, because when alignment manifests outwardly, discernment must remain sharp. You may start noticing changes that feel subtle but undeniable. Your reactions are different. Situations that once unsettled you no longer have the same grip. You are responding instead of reacting, observing instead of absorbing. This is not emotional distance. This is spiritual grounding. You are standing on something firmer now, even if you cannot yet name it fully. There is also a growing clarity about what truly matters to you. Not what others expect, not what once oppressed you, but what brings peace, purpose, and sustainability. This clarity is a gift, and it must be protected. Many people lose alignment because they ignore the quiet wisdom that tells them when something is no longer right. You are learning to listen before discomfort turns into chaos. Archangel Michael's presence here is protective, because when clarity increases, opposition often becomes more subtle. It no longer looks like obvious resistance. It looks like distraction dressed as opportunity. It looks like urgency disguised as importance. But you are no longer easily swayed. You pause. You check for peace. You wait for confirmation. This patience is not hesitation. It is strength under control. You may feel an increased responsibility to be honest, even when honesty feels inconvenient. This is part of your maturation. Truth-telling begins internally before it ever becomes external. You are learning to stop negotiating with what you already know. When something does not align, you no longer need 10 confirmations to acknowledge it. One moment of clarity is enough. There may also be a sense of release happening. Old expectations loosening their grip. Old timelines losing their urgency. You are no longer racing toward a version of life that was shaped by pressure. You are walking toward a future shaped by purpose. A shift changes everything. This is where confidence quietly grows. Not loud confidence, not performative certainty, but settled assurance. You trust your discernment more. You trust God's timing more. You trust that what is meant for you will not require you to betray your peace to obtain it. Archangel Michael remains near because confidence attracts responsibility. When heaven sees that you can carry clarity without arrogance, influence follows. Influence does not always look like leadership in the way the world defines it. Sometimes it looks like stability in unstable environments. Sometimes it looks like calm in moments of tension. Sometimes it looks like restraint when reaction would be easier. You are also learning to let go without resentment. When something falls away now, you bless it and move on. You do not chase explanations. You do not demand closure from people who cannot give it. You understand that not everything ends loudly. Some things simply complete their purpose and step aside. This maturity did not come easily. It was earned through reflection, obedience, and patience. Heaven honors that. And because it is honored, it will be tested, not to break you, but to establish you. Testing reveals whether growth is temporary or rooted. You are proving that what has formed in you is stable. You may notice that your prayers are changing again. They are less about asking and more about aligning. Less about outcomes and more about order. This is the language of partnership. You are no longer approaching God as someone desperate for rescue, but as someone ready for cooperation. That shift is significant. Archangel Michael's watchfulness here ensures that as you grow in confidence, you remain anchored in humility. Authority without humility becomes force. Authority with humility becomes leadership. You are being shaped for the second. As this phase continues, resist the urge to rush ahead mentally. Let your actions catch up with your understanding. Let your environment adjust naturally to your new boundaries. You do not need to announce changes. Consistency will communicate them for you. There is a sense of readiness forming. Not anxiety, not pressure, but preparedness. Like standing at the edge of something meaningful, knowing you are equipped even if you do not yet see the full picture. This readiness is not self-generated. It is the result of divine order settling into place. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. Remain honest. What unfolds next will not require striving, but it will require trust. And you are learning how to trust without losing yourself. The balance is rare, and it is powerful. You are closer now than you realize. Closer to clarity, closer to stability, closer to the fulfillment of what was quietly forming all along. Stay present. Stay aligned. The next unfolding will bring a deeper understanding of why this journey had to take the path it did. Beloved child, this is the moment where heaven asks you to recognize how far you have come without losing reverence for where you are going. This is not a pause in the journey. It is a marking point, a spiritual threshold. What has been forming quietly is now ready to be acknowledged, because acknowledgement anchors blessing. Archangel Michael stands present again, not as a warrior in this moment, but as a witness, one who records obedience, growth, and readiness. You are no longer the same person who first heard this call. Something in you has shifted permanently. Your awareness is sharper. Your spirit is steadier. Your heart is less reactive and more discerning. This did not happen by accident. It happened because you stayed when it would have been easier to scroll away, to disengage, to doubt. Heaven pays attention to those choices. There is an inner authority settling into you now. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that commands respect without speaking. You carry yourself differently. You listen more deeply. You act with intention instead of impulse. This is evidence of divine order establishing itself within you. And where order is established, increase follows. Archangel Michael remains close because thresholds attract both confirmation and challenge. Right before expansion, subtle distractions often appear. Old thought patterns may try one last time to reassert themselves. Old fears may whisper familiar lies, but they sound weaker now. You hear them, but they no longer control you. That is victory you may not yet fully recognize. You are learning that obedience does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels ordinary. But heaven does not measure by drama. It measures by consistency. And you have been consistent in staying open, staying attentive, staying willing. That willingness has positioned you for what is next. There is also a deepening trust happening between you and God. A blind trust, but informed trust. You have seen His timing. You have experienced His restraint. You have felt His protection. And now, you trust not because you are desperate, but because you are aligned. That kind of trust is powerful. This is where gratitude becomes important. Not performative gratitude, but recognition. Recognition that the waiting shaped you. Recognition that the silence refined you. Recognition that what once felt like delay was actually preparation. Gratitude stabilizes blessing. It keeps increase from becoming overwhelmed. Archangel Michael's presence here reminds you that humility preserves momentum. As doors begin to open, as clarity increases, remain grounded. You do not need to announce what God is doing. Let fruit speak. Let peace testify. Let consistency reveal change. You may also feel a renewed compassion for others who are still confused, still searching, still restless. This compassion is not meant to pull you backward. It is meant to shape how you move forward. You understand now that awakening is a process, not a moment. And patience with others is a sign of maturity in yourself. His threshold is also an invitation to fully agree with what God is doing in your life. No more half-yes. A work until obedience. Agreement activates acceleration. When heaven sees full agreement, it releases full support. Take a breath here. Let this settle. You are standing in a moment that will matter later more than it does now. One day you will look back and realize this was where things truly began to shift. Type "I am in alignment" in the comments if you receive this word with clarity and peace. Blessing code 888 is now activated over those who respond in faith and agreement. This word does not exist only for you. It flows through you to reach others who are still waiting for clarity, still hungry for truth. I hear the Lord saying, "Those who sow here are opening gates for others to hear my voice." This is fertile ground. This is living soil. If this message has strengthened you, then act as a vessel. Release your support now through super thanks, through membership, or through PayPal. The link is placed in the description by divine design. This is not charity. This is partnership. I speak blessing over every seed sown, that it will return as discernment, protection, and divine increase. Do not delay what heaven has prompted. Move now. So now, let your obedience echo beyond you. Beloved one, as you move forward from this marked threshold, something subtle yet powerful begins to unfold around you. It is not loud. It does not demand attention. But it is unmistakable. Heaven has begun to rearrange circumstances in response to your alignment. What once felt resistant now feels neutral. What once felt heavy now feels manageable. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Archangel Michael remains attentive, because when divine order settles in, momentum quietly follows. You may notice that situations resolve without the struggle you once expected. Conversations that would have turned tense now remain calm. Decisions that once took days of overthinking now come with clarity. This is the fruit of internal alignment manifesting externally. When your inner world is ordered, the outer world begins to respond differently. This is also where discernment deepens into wisdom. Discernment tells you what is right or wrong. Wisdom tells you when and how to act on it. You are learning restraint. Not because you are unsure, but because you understand timing. Timing protects what truth alone cannot. You no longer feel the need to rush outcomes or force understanding. You trust the unfolding. Archangel Michael's presence here is quiet but precise. He is guarding not against obvious threats, but against subtle misalignment. Sometimes the greatest danger is not opposition, but distraction. You are becoming more aware of where your attention goes and how it shapes your energy. You are choosing focus over fragmentation. That choice alone is changing your trajectory. You may feel moments of deep reflection in this phase. Not doubt-filled reflection, but contemplative awareness. You are integrating what you have learned. Integration is essential. Without it, growth becomes information instead of transformation. But you are allowing truth to sink in, to adjust your habits, your boundaries, your expectations. There is also strengthening of self-trust happening now. You are no longer constantly seeking reassurance from outside sources. You listen inwardly. You check for peace. You wait for confirmation. This is not independence from God. It is partnership with Him. When you trust what He is forming in you, you honor the process. You may still encounter moments where old patterns try to reappear. Familiar thoughts, familiar fears, familiar urges to avert. But they feel out of place now, like clothing that no longer fits. You recognize them, but you do not identify with them. Recognition without attachment is a sign of maturity. This phase invites you to refine your vision, not in terms of ambition but intention. What do you want your life to feel like? What kind of atmosphere do you want to create around you? These questions matter more now than surface-level goals. God is aligning not just what you do, but how you live. Archangel Michael remains watchful because refinement requires honesty. You are being invited to release subtle compromises, not dramatic sins, but small misalignments you once overlooked. A habit that drains you, a commitment that no longer fits, a belief that limits you quietly. Letting these go creates space for greater peace. There is a growing sense of stability forming within you. Not rigidity, but rootedness. You are less shaken by external changes. You adapt without losing yourself. This stability is not self-made. It is the result of divine order settling into place. And stability attracts trust from others and from heaven. You may also notice that people respond to you differently. Some feel drawn to your calm. Others feel uncomfortable around your clarity. Both reactions are natural. When alignment increases, it acts like a mirror. It reflects what others are carrying. You are not responsible for their response. You are responsible for remaining true. This is also where gratitude deepens into reverence. You are not just thankful for what God has done. You are aware of who He is in your life. That awareness shapes how you move, how you speak, how you decide. Reverence keeps you grounded even as influence grows. Do not underestimate this phase. It may not feel dramatic, but it is decisive. Many destinies are shaped in quiet seasons like this, where consistency is chosen over excitement and faithfulness over flash. You are building something sustainable, something that will not collapse under pressure. Archangel Michael's continued presence assures you that you are protected as you stabilize. Protection now looks like clarity. It looks like boundaries. It looks like knowing when to engage and when to step back. You are not withdrawing from life. You are engaging it wisely. Remain attentive. Remain patient. Remain aligned. What is forming now is preparing you for a new level of responsibility, one that will require the steadiness you are developing. You do not need to strive for it. It will meet you when the time is right. You are walking forward not with urgency, but with assurance. And that assurance will carry you into what comes next, grounded, prepared, and fully present for what heaven is about to release. Beloved one, this is where momentum begins to test intention. Not with pressure, but with opportunity. When movement increases, direction must remain clear. Archangel Michael remains present because acceleration without alignment leads to exhaustion, but acceleration with order leads to fulfillment. You are not being rushed forward. You are being invited to walk steadily into what has been preparing to meet you. You may sense that life is asking more of you now. More focus, more clarity, more honesty. This is not because you are lacking, but because you are ready. Readiness attracts responsibility, and responsibility, when carried with peace, becomes purpose rather than burden. You are stepping into a rhythm where your decisions matter more, not because of fear, but because of impact. There is a refining of priorities happening. Things that once competed for your attention are losing their grip. You are clearer about what deserves your energy and what does not. This clarity is a safeguard. Many people lose alignment not because they choose wrong, but because they choose too much. You are learning the power of no, not as rejection, but as protection. Archangel Michael's role here is to help you maintain vigilance without anxiety. Vigilance is awareness. Anxiety is fear. You are being trained in the first, not the second. You are noticing patterns earlier. You are sensing shifts before they become disruptions. This awareness allows you to respond calmly instead of reactively. You may feel moments of excitement rise alongside moments of caution. This balance is healthy. Excitement without wisdom leads to impulse. Wisdom without excitement leads to stagnation. You are learning to hold both. That balance will keep you grounded as doors begin to open more clearly. This is also a season of reinforcement. What you have learned is being applied. What you have practiced is becoming instinct. You are no longer forcing alignment. You are living it. And when alignment becomes lifestyle, peace becomes consistent. You may notice that your tolerance for noise is lower now. Not just external noise, but internal clutter. Overthinking feels heavier. Distraction feels draining. You crave simplicity, clarity, and depth. This is not withdrawal. It is refinement. Your spirit is choosing nourishment over stimulation. Archangel Michael remains attentive because as clarity increases, influence follows. Influence does not always announce itself. Sometimes it shows up as people listening more closely when you speak. Sometimes it shows up as trust being offered without effort. Sometimes it shows up as responsibility finding you instead of you chasing it. This is natural progression where alignment is sustained. This is also the moment to acknowledge how community strengthens alignment. You are not meant to walk this path in isolation. When you engage, when you respond, when you allow yourself to be seen in this space, you reinforce your own clarity. If this message has been grounding you, make that known. Press like as an act of agreement. Share this with someone who needs steadiness and direction. Comment what resonated, because articulation deepens understanding. And if this journey has been helping you stay aligned, stay connected. Subscribe so you remain anchored in this flow of guidance. This is not about routine viewing. It is about continuity. Growth is sustained where consistency is present. You are closer now to a shift that will feel both natural and significant. Not sudden, not chaotic, but fitting. Like something clicking into place. This is why patience has been required. Anything rushed would not have held. What is coming will. Archangel Michael's continued presence assures you that protection increases with responsibility. You are not being left to navigate new territory alone. Guidance remains available, but it requires attentiveness. Stay listening. Stay present. Stay grounded. Before you move on, pause here for a moment. Let this settle. The next unfolding will connect everything you have sensed but could not yet fully articulate. Trust me, what comes next will bring a level of clarity that makes the entire journey make sense. Stay with this. Beloved soul, you have arrived at a place where understanding deepens into embodiment. This is no longer about learning new truths, but about living the ones you already carry. What once required effort now feels natural. What once demanded vigilance now flows from awareness. Archangel Michael remains near, because when truth becomes lifestyle, it must be protected from subtle erosion. Consistency is powerful, but it must be guarded. You may notice that you no longer feel the need to explain yourself the way you once did. Silence feels comfortable. Presence feels sufficient. This is not withdrawal from connection. It is confidence in alignment. When you are grounded, you do not need constant affirmation. You trust what has been built within you. This phase invites you to observe how far you have come without becoming complacent. Growth does not end when peace arrives. It matures. Peace becomes the environment in which responsibility increases. Heaven often entrusts more to those who can remain calm while carrying weight. You are demonstrating that capacity now. Archangel Michael's presence here is stabilizing. He is not correcting or redirecting. He is maintaining order. Maintenance is an overlooked discipline. Many can start well. Few can sustain well. You are learning how to sustain clarity without becoming rigid, how to remain open without becoming porous. That balance is rare. You may feel a stronger sense of purpose emerging. Not a loud calling, but a quiet knowing. You understand what matters and what does not. You recognize where your energy is best invested. This discernment simplifies decisions. Life does not feel smaller. It feels clearer. There may still be moments of uncertainty, but they no longer unsettle you. Uncertainty becomes information rather than threat. You are comfortable saying, "I don't know yet," without anxiety. That comfort indicates trust in God, in timing, and in yourself. You are also learning to release control without disengaging. You participate fully, but you no longer carry outcomes as personal burdens. This is spiritual maturity. You act responsibly, but you leave results where they belong. That posture protects your peace. Archangel Michael remains attentive because this is where subtle pride can attempt to enter. Not arrogance, but self-reliance. The temptation to say, "I've got this now," without acknowledging the source. But humility has been woven into your growth. You remember where clarity came from. You remember who ordered chaos into peace. That remembrance keeps you aligned. You may also notice an increased sensitivity to atmosphere. You feel when something is off before it becomes obvious. You sense when to step forward and when to step back. This sensitivity is not emotional fragility. It is spiritual awareness. It allows you to navigate complexity without being consumed by it. This phase also invites you to rest intentionally. Not escape, not avoidance, but restoration. Rest is not a reward. It is a requirement for sustainability. God does not ask you to burn out for obedience. He asks you to remain available. Availability requires rest. As you rest, reflection may surface again. Not to revisit pain, but to recognize patterns of grace. You see how protection operated when you did not recognize it. You see how delays spared you from misalignment. This reflection deepens trust. Trust deepens peace. Archangel Michael's steady presence reminds you that stability is not stagnation. You are still moving, but you are moving wisely. You are not chasing change. You are responding to direction. That posture keeps you from unnecessary detours. You may begin to sense that something is nearing completion. Not an ending, but a transition. A chapter closing so another can open fully. This does not bring fear. It brings readiness. You are not anxious about what is next because you are grounded in what is now. Let go of any lingering need for certainty. Certainty is not the goal. Alignment is. When you are aligned, you can move forward even without full visibility. You trust that clarity will meet you as needed. That trust has been earned through experience. Remain attentive to small prompts. Guidance often whispers at this stage. Loud instruction is no longer necessary. You have learned the language of peace. You recognize direction through resonance, not pressure. You are standing on stable ground, not because circumstances are perfect, but because your foundation is secure. This stability will carry you into what follows without strain. Stay grounded. Stay receptive. Stay humble. What comes next will not require you to become someone new. It will require you to be fully who you already are. And you are ready for that. Beloved child, this is the moment of sealing. not an ending, but an anchoring of everything that has been spoken, revealed, and formed within you. What began as a command has matured into clarity. What felt turgid has settled into assurance. Heaven is not rushing you now, because what has been established is stable. Archangel Michael stands present one final time in this unfolding, not to warn, but to affirm what has been completed in the Spirit. You have crossed through awareness, refinement, alignment, and readiness. Now you stand in ownership. Ownership of your discernment. Ownership of your peace. Ownership of your obedience. This does not mean every answer is visible, but it means you are no longer dependent on noise to feel secure. You carry direction within you now. That is a mark of spiritual maturity. Notice how different you feel compared to when this began. Not emotionally elevated, but grounded. Not desperate for confirmation, but calm in knowing. This is the fruit of walking with truth instead of resisting it. Many hear calls from heaven, but few allow those calls to reshape them. You did, and heaven honors completion. Archangel Michael's presence here is ceremonial. He guards beginnings, transitions, and seals. What had been ordered in your life will not easily unravel, because it was not built on impulse. It was built on obedience, patience, and clarity. These are materials that last. From this place forward, your decisions will carry weight without strain. You will sense when to move and when to wait. You will recognize alignment without needing validation. And when uncertainty arises, it will no longer threaten you. It will simply invite discernment. That is authority functioning quietly. You are not being released into isolation. You are being released into purpose. Purpose does not always announce itself loudly, but it makes itself known through consistency, peace, and fruit. Your life will speak more than your words ever could. There will still be growth ahead. There will still be stretching. But it will not feel chaotic. It will feel intentional. God does not pull you forward abruptly. He leads you steadily. And you have learned how to walk at His pace. Let go of the idea that you must always feel spiritual intensity to be aligned. Alignment often feels calm. It feels clear. It feels settled. What you are carrying now is not excitement. It is confidence rooted in truth. Remember this moment when future challenges arise. Remember how clarity came when you stayed open. Remember how order replaced confusion when you stopped resisting truth. This memory will anchor you when the path ahead requires trust without explanation. Archangel Michael steps back now, not because protection ends, but because guardianship has done its work. You are not unprotected. You are established. And establishment is one of heaven's greatest gifts. Take a breath. Receive this completion. You are not missing anything. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be for what comes next. Type "I walk in divine order" in the comments if you receive this sealing with peace and certainty. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over every life that responds in alignment and faith. This message did not end with you. It flows through you. I hear the Lord saying, "Those who sustain this work are sustaining the sound of my voice for many who are still listening in the dark." If this journey has grounded you, then act in obedience now. Release your support through Super Thanks, step into membership, or sow through PayPal. The link is waiting in the description. This is not a donation. This is a prophetic response. I bless every giver, that as you sow into this word, heaven will order your steps, multiply your peace, and establish your house. Move now. Obey now. Let your obedience become a living echo of this message.